That's good coffee.
I know I keep doing these like wacky tonal shifts, but Alex,
Hi.
you are a superstar, and this is an actual serious question. Obviously everybody's strategies are different, but do you have any good coping strategies for anxiety that you want to share with people?
Boy.
With the caveat that what works for one person doesn't work for other people.
This is ongoing for me. So it is kind of make it up as you go. There's a couple things you may have noticed me playing with this thing. This is called a Kombolói, which is it's a Greek fidget toy that I made myself. It's 27 beads, and it's just to do this with, or you can do it quietly if it's bugging people. I've played a lot of video games this year, and like that doesn't sound like anything weird, but it's like kind of my sort of relief at the end of a day to just like get to play for a little while with my friends, because like just like being connected to people really helps, and it's something I'm pretty bad at sometimes, but like talking also helps, like talking to a friend, talking to therapists, even just talking to like people in a chat sometimes, just like the problem with anxiety is that it gets the worst when it has time to build up centrifugal force in your head, and the ideas that you worry about get too incestuous without any outside input, and you'll just take the same like half conclusions and start connecting them together, and like it just gets worse and worse and worse, and like sometimes merely just saying them aloud will make them seem as ridiculous as they actually are. So that's a good one. I started walking more, which can help. Like, it's one of those lame sounding things where it's just like, get some exercise. It's like, I don't have energy for exercise because I'm having problems. But seriously, like, just get out for a walk. Like, get outside, stretch your legs. You will feel really, really terrible at the beginning, and then by the end of your walk, you will probably feel a little bit better. So like, and it doesn't have to be walking. You could like swim, you could run, whatever. Like, I think that the difficult part is doing stuff you really don't want to do. Like feeding yourself properly or sleeping properly and all that other stuff. And that's all really challenging, but you got to do it anyway because it's gonna help. So yes.
Hello, fellow anxiety sufferer here. I also just wanted to say that... What? Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I want to agree with a lot of what you said. However, anxiety is different for everybody. When I'm suffering panic attacks, I don't want to be around anybody. I want to be as far away from everybody as possible. You actually asked me for one of these at one point, and I have a GIF saved on my phone, which is a little animated breathe in, breathe out GIF. And if I'm suffering a panic attack, I know you can't see it, but you can kind of see it. It tells you when to breathe in and breathe out, and I try to focus on that a lot. General anxieties, I agree. Reaching out and just saying them out loud is kind of nice, because then your friends are like, if you have supportive friends, your feelings are valid, you're valid, I understand you're anxious, but there's no need to be, and that can calm me down. But if I'm mid panic attack, I'm like, oh, dark room to bed, that sounds rad, and that's okay too. You don't need to go and be active in that moment. You can do whatever is good for you, and that's okay. And I just wanted to jump in and say that.
Oh yeah.
Because this is different between just the two of us, and it's different for all of you too.
Yeah, you are going to have to figure out what works for you. And there's a bunch of them. You'll have to try them. It's kind of trial and error, I guess.
Also, medication doesn't always fix everything. I was put on anti-anxiety meds. It made me more anxious, because that was a side effect of anti-anxiety medication. What?
Medication, yeah, it's one. It is one tool in the repertoire. It is definitely not a be all end all.
No.
But it can help some people. But it is tricky to.
Don't let that dissuade you from trying it.
Don't give up. Keep trying.
Yeah, it's
But again, it's a thing that's different for everybody. It didn't work for me. It's probably the same thing as probably working for somebody else. Brains are really weird and sometimes very terrible, but generally wonderful. So you gotta find what works for you. And once you do, it's really great.
yeah. I think there is one thing we can't agree on. It's just like,
Oh, sorry, Ian.
oh,
I'm so sorry.
that you shouldn't hurt Ian.
That giant feet.
I think that's something that you could take away from this.
But if
Yeah.
Don't
if
hurt
hurting
Ian.
Ian helps you cope with your anxiety, maybe maybe have a talk with him about setting some boundaries and.
You know what? You can work the abdomen for a while, and we can set up some time.
Yeah. Keep going. Never stop.
No.
Never ever stop.
People are like, oh, once you're an adult, everything's figured out. And I'm like,
No,
See?
nobody says
Can I-
that.
so, no, people say
Oh
that.
yeah, Kate, come on in.
It's not the case.
Long time sufferer, long time coper.
Hello, welcome. Hello, Kate.
Hello. Two things I'd like to add to what these guys have said because I think you've done really well is one, set small, measurable goals.
Seriously, this.
So I usually write a daily list of things I think I'm going to get through in the day, and sometimes that list includes put your socks on, have a tea, watch a lure video. It's not always the hard stuff. Sometimes it's eating breakfast is a big deal sometimes. So you have to make goals that are teeny tiny, itsy bitsy. And then at the end, you got to do the most important thing. Alex,
Good for you.
you got to stop. You got to check it off on the list. You got to pat yourself on the back. You got to say, hey, I did that goal. And here I am. I had two.
You're good.
I love you.
I love you
But
too.
I had
No, go for it.
I had
Go
two.
for it. Do it.
Okay, so that was my one.
Yep.
Okay, the other one is a kind of a weird one, but is actually so simple that no one's going to believe me. But here we go. If you do deep breathing, which everybody tells you to do, deep breathing gives your brain oxygen, and your brain likes it and will calm you even if you're not calm. Just oxygen. Oxygen in and of itself will ratchet down your anxiety. I personally tell people to go hide in the bathroom. Go hide in the bathroom, take 10 deep breaths. Nobody knows what you're doing, who cares? But you can change your anxiety level from up really high to, whatever you're able to in probably 10 deep breaths if you're just quiet. And a lot of people have different breathing techniques that they use, and there's a zillion of them. There's square breathing and there's round breathing and all this kind of stuff. But the easiest one that I know, and I'm going to pass along and then I'm going to give to Kate, is you breathe in, I am. Come on, everybody can do that. I am. And then you breathe out, here. Just put you in the moment, get you that nice oxygen to your brain. So I share that with you out of love.
Yeah, make sure that the bathroom is not hasn't been used really recently before you go in there and do a lot of deep breathing. Just
meant it was a place to hide.
FYI, yes.
Place to hide if you didn't want to do it in front of people.
Also make sure that it's actually empty.
Sure, that too.
Yeah.
My last two quick things is not only do I suffer from anxiety, I also suffer from bad arthritis. So a lot of days it's really hard for me to just get out of bed. Especially in the fall, winter months, it's all cold and my joints lock up. So I consider that an accomplishment. Because then I get anxious that I haven't done anything with my day. Because I've taken a literal hour to get out of bed because I physically can't. But that's an accomplishment. Getting out of bed is amazing. And you did the thing. And that should check mark. I had one more. I can't remember what it was.
I think
I had a small addition to what Kate was talking about. Cool. Which is, from the scientific perspective, deep breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system. But seriously, actually, if you get it down into your diaphragm, it pokes the calming part of your body. It's actually works.
Last thing, I promise. Look at the amount of people in this room. And the amount of people in this room that have or do suffer from anxiety is really, the ratio is quite high. So just know that you're not alone. Pretty much everybody has some form of anxiety or mental health problem. You're not alone. We're not alone. Reach out. Get some help if you need it. There's tons of people who are going through exactly the same stuff as you. Please don't feel like you're by yourself.
Because you're not.
Also, if you don't get to everything on your list, you tried. Good
That's
job.
cool, too.
You put the effort in, even if the list was like 3 things long. Because you know what? Some days you give it 110%, but you don't get there. But that doesn't mean you didn't try really hard, and that's still something you should reward yourself for.
Also, if you will find yourself getting through your list, and like some days you'll be like, I did everything, and I'm gonna push just a little harder and do one more thing, and it maybe won't be as hard as you thought it was that day, and then maybe the next day you'll do 2 more things. So build them up.
Sounds like we can check this one off the list.
Yay!
Challenge complete.
It's kind of funny actually with Desert Bus and with the I mean, one of the things that obviously I do a lot of Desert Bus is doing the singing and stuff, and in some ways that's actually the process of learning and singing to myself, which I do a lot of at home, just sort of habitually and because I like to do it, is actually something that I sort of realized not that long ago, is that's sort of a little bit part of my coping mechanism sometimes, is because while I'm singing a song or I'm thinking about that, I'll be really focused on remembering the lyrics and remembering the tune and getting that right, and that can kind of push everything else to the side while I'm doing that part. And I find that sometimes helps, and especially if it's or if it's a song that I feel is particularly evocative of the mood that I happen to be in at the time. So that's if you can, it's something that can kind of occupy all of your conscious thought for a little bit. It's part of the reason why video games are really good for that too.
Yeah.
Is they can kind of give you. I mean, it's a vacation, and it's your problems will still be there at the end of the vacation, but maybe you'll be in a little bit better state to deal with it.
Yeah. What I ended up doing is making a point of trying to get through as many items on my list as I could, and then at the end of the day, it's like, okay, it's time to veg out and play video games, because I could just as easily spend all day doing that, and then I wouldn't get anywhere. But yeah, like, take care of yourself, but also don't be afraid to push just a little bit, because you may surprise yourself with what you can do. Okay.
We have